I watched the water swirl down the toilet bowl, taking the last of my autonomy with it. My husband of 13 years stood in the doorway of our bathroom, holding the empty blister pack of my birth control pills. He didn't ask me if I was ready. He didn't discuss our finances or our relationship. He simply disposed of my contraception, looked me dead in the eye and said, "It's time to start trying for real. We aren't getting any younger." In that moment, the man I'd lived with for over a decade didn't look like a partner. He looked like a jailer, and I knew I wasn't just leaving a marriage. I was escaping a life sentence. But to understand why flushing those pills was the final nail in the coffin, you have to go back 6 months to the day I met Jay. I had been with Mark since I was 18. We were each other's first everything. But somewhere along the line, the romance died, replaced by a comfortable, numbing silence. We were essentially roommates who shared a tax return. I told myself this was normal. I told myself that passion always fades into routine. Then Jay joined my department to cover maternity leave. She was 31, vibrant, and genuinely interested in the world. She sat at the desk next to mine, and for the first time in years, I found myself excited to go to work. We started grabbing lunch. We shared jokes. I realized I was starving for attention, and she was feeding me without even trying. The reality of my marriage crashed down on my birthday last month. Mark didn't just get me a bad gift. He forgot the day entirely. I walked through the front door, expecting maybe a card or a nice dinner. Instead, he was sprawled on the couch watching TV and asked, "What's for dinner?" Like it was just another Tuesday. I went to work the next day feeling invisible. But when I got to my desk, there was a small box of handmade chocolates and a potted succulent waiting for me. Jay? She remembered I'd mentioned once, in passing, that I wanted to start a garden. She remembered I loved dark chocolate. She had known me for 3 months, and she saw me more clearly than the man who had known me for 13 years. That night, when I confronted Mark about forgetting my birthday, he panicked. He tried to backtrack, blaming work stress, to make it up to me. He promised we would finally go hiking that weekend. That thing I had been begging him to do for 3 years. Saturday came, I was dressed and ready. Mark looked up from his phone and said, "Actually, the guys are going to the pub. I don't want to be bored on my weekend." That was the moment I emotionally checked out. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just said, "Okay." The next weekend, Jay invited me kayaking. I went. The weekend after that, we went rock climbing. I was doing all the things I had dreamed of doing with my husband, but I was doing them with a woman who actually enjoyed my company. I told myself we were just friends. But the emotional intimacy was undeniable. I was sharing my dreams, my fears, and my laughter with her, while Mark got nothing but my silence. I knew I was walking a dangerous line. I knew I couldn't keep living 2 lives. I was preparing to have the divorce talk with Mark. I wanted to do it right. I wanted to be honest. Then came this morning. I woke up to the sound of the toilet flushing and Mark rummaging through the cabinets. When I sat up, he was standing there with the empty foil pack. "I threw them out," he announced, his voice flat and commanding. "I'm tired of waiting. You're 31. It's time." He viewed a baby as a way to fix a stale marriage. He thought if he locked me down with a child, I wouldn't leave. He thought he could bully me into motherhood, the same way he bullied me into staying home on weekends. I didn't yell. The clarity was instant and cold. "You're right," I said. "It is time," he smiled, thinking he had won. He went to work, thinking he had successfully taken control of our future. The moment his car left the driveway, I pulled my suitcases out of the closet. I didn't pack everything, just the clothes I liked, the books I hadn't read, and the succulent Jay gave me. I left his laundry on the bed. I left the empty chocolate box on the counter. I'm currently sitting in a coffee shop, waiting for Jay to get off work. I don't know if she and I are going to be anything more than friends. I don't know if I'm ready for that, but I do know that I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. Mark tried to force me to create a life with him. In doing so, he gave me the push I needed to start a life of my own.